that clinic that he dropped at the Etihad yesterday. Hey, all I'm saying is, if you're smart, you sign Bernardo Silva. That's all I'll say about Bernardo Silva. If you are smart, you will sign Bernardo Silva in the summer. We have to talk about Bernardo Silva. We have to. We have to. When you talk about a proper midfielder, or shall I say, what I would love my midfielder to be, that performance from Bernardo Silva against Arsenal at the weekend, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of performance. There's no GA. That's I love midfield performances like that. There's no GA to talk about. We're not talking about a player who had to create 8 chances in a game, and everyone's like, "Hey, but look what he's doing. This is the type of player that you should keep your eye." No, 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 no. We didn't need that. We did not need that from Bernardo Silva. What we saw from Bernardo Silva was a clinic and was a lesson to all of the other midfielders in world football. All of the other midfielders in world football. That's how you put in a midfield performance. Excellent. One of the best midfielders of his generation. It's going to be sad when he does finally leave Manchester City, and it probably looks like he will leave, the Premier League at that as well. And I think the Premier League, again, we're losing a lot of good players. Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, now Bernardo Silva potentially, leaving the Premier League. These are, these are one of ones especially in Premier League generate. These are one of ones. That performance yesterday was amazing. I know he didn't get man of the match, or I believe he didn't get man of the match or whatever it was, but he was for me on and off the ball. He was just the best player on the pitch. Arsenal could not get near him. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You go ahead, you can see his heat map here on the screen, guys. He was everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere. It was just silly, at points, in the game. Um 53 passes completed, 3 total tackles, 4 ball recoveries. I mean, don't care about look, no assists, no expected assists, you know? That's what because I guess that's what people care about, XGs and XAs and all of these kind of things. He only misplaced 6 passes in the entire game. He had 25 out of 29 passes in the opposition half. I mean, he only had one unsuccessful touch in the entire game. We're talking about an absolute clinic. 5 defensive contributions, 2 out of 3 tackles won, 2 clearances. I remember the header late on in the game when it looked like Arsenal might potentially be coming back into it. Clinic, guys. Clinic. This is what I'm talking about. And I think I just had to give him its flowers more than anything because obviously, of course, listen, Man City win the game. We look at Cherky, who's an amazing player. Obviously he's a different type of player, to a Bernardo Silva. But when we're talking about, real midfielders and not necessarily always having to hide behind the GA and what do you contribute to the team kind of thing, this is what Bernardo, he can obviously get GA, which he's done numerous years and seasons for Manchester City, but he's just I almost feel like he's almost not even this season because I even thought at the beginning of the season because Manchester City looked a bit slow, a bit sluggish. He almost looked like, yeah, that's what I look like. But that experience that these guys are able to just tap into, that know-how that these players, him, the Rodris and stuff like, they can just tap into these things like at a moment's notice. There's no question. Pep Guardiola has just somehow gotten these players to a point that in these moments, in these crucial crunch time moments, they can still pull it off. And last season they had a poor season. I know Rodri was injured, but last season by Bernardo Silva standards, it was a really, really poor season. It was really, really poor. You know what I mean? Like it didn't look like it kind of looked like maybe the team is on its way out, like every other normal team. But Manchester City are not normal. They're not normal. They're a different kind of breed. Real, real different. When I say he was picking up the ball everywhere, I really do mean he was picking it up everywhere. When you talk about a player who drops in to the centre back. You know, we talk about this a lot because we see Vitinha, Joao Neves, obviously they're like the obvious ones, right? And people always talk about, you know, they like midfielders obviously who do that and blah blah blah. This again, and let me just say, I'm going to talk to Premier League fans and Premier League midfielders. This is how you do that. I've not seen one Premier League midfielder put in that kind of performance, doing things like doing basic, by the way. Again, I'm not even trying to say he did anything amazing. I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying or to not understand what I'm saying. I'm not here telling you that he did amazing things or he was basically Messi, but just a midfield version. No, 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 no. These things that he's doing to me for players of this level anyway, that's basic. This should be kind of simple for if that's your job role, of course, in the team. I don't know one midfielder in the Premier League can do it better than that. None. I've not seen it. Maybe you guys can show me, but I've not seen that at all this season. Dropping in even further forward, you know, helping out in those, you know, in those attacking areas. This isn't the Turkey goal, but you can see where that Turkey goal is going to be coming from, of course, down that, you know, down that side. He was making himself available at all opportunities. He was the link man in the midfield. Without him connecting the entire team, not just connecting from defense to the midfield. No, he was connecting defense to midfield to attack. He was the one picking up that ball in that kind of left-sided centre-back area, dropping in, always being an option. Sometimes if Nico O'Reilly needed someone to pass, it was Bernardo Silva because he would come in and help. And that I feel like is the problem with a lot of these central midfielders is that it's you do your job role and that's it. You it's almost like if we don't put you in your specific position, it's just game over, really and truly. Like you can't really do much else, you know, kind of thing. And I know obviously we talk about other players who like they drop in and you know people because I know someone's gonna say, oh yeah, but you know, this player X, you know, he drops in, you know what I mean? He likes to pick up the ball from the centre back and blah blah blah. It's not his job. That's not his job because the team obviously need him up further forward. But Bernardo Silva's job is the connector for the entire team. That's his job, and he does it. I can't better than anyone else. Do you know what I'm saying in the Premier League alongside obviously Rodri, and it's not really a bad double pivot to have it. You know, if you're lucky enough to kind of have it. But this is all he was doing all game. Kushinov, Gay, they can split. Once they split, you've then got Nico O'Reilly, Mateus Nunes. They can go forward high and wide, and you're good to go. Obviously, in this instance, you've got obviously Nico O'Reilly out there. Guess where Doku is? He's pushed infield. Why is Doku pushed infield? Because Bernardo Silva. Because of Bernardo Silva. That's why. That look where Doku is, guys. He's here. Doku's there in the center of the park. I think it's Doku anyway. Could be Semenyo, but from here it looks like Doku. But one of them, Semenyo, one of the wingers are in the middle of the park. Why? Because of Bernardo Silva. Because of Bernardo Silva. Again, picking up that ball here, he's going about to spray a pass out to that right hand side. Again, get the team. And one thing I really loved, and I mean, this was a brilliant tackle from Bernardo Silva in the game. You know that Havertz threw on goal. I think he handballed it in the end, but yeah, you know, I didn't. For a minute, I thought Havertz was going to just burn him. Like you know, you get like an extra yard or something. But Bernardo said he was just hungry. He was definitely just just hungry. One thing I really liked about Manchester City, and even from an Arsenal standpoint, actually, to be fair, and let me not lie, one thing, and something I always criticize Liverpool about because they're probably one of the worst teams at doing so. You when you talk about like rotations and stuff, and obviously we see PSG do it, but if we're just talking like the Premier League, right? Rotations, rotations, rotations. And when you have the ball, move the ball quicker. I'm not saying the ball needs to be pinged every 2 seconds. It's not about pinging it. I don't need that, and I don't feel that it requires that. What I'm talking about is you literally just need to move the ball quicker. Once you move the ball quicker, obviously if the team are in tune with each other, the rotations just happen. So you will get Bernardo Silva who can drop into the back line. Nico O'Reilly, you go. Mateus Nunes, you go. Guess what, Doku? I need you to also drop in to create that space, or it's going to be then Nico O'Reilly who drops into that middle of the park because he's going to then drive in because Bernardo Silva has then slotted into that left-sided position, and then Doku then has the out wide to himself, which we saw quite a few times in the game that Doku had that side to himself because of one player. rotations, rotations, rotations. And I feel like not enough teams seem to do that. It's always passing. Like, I'm using Liverpool as an example because to me they're just the worst at doing it. It's so slow that you can keep passing the ball, and Liverpool probably always have high possession stats. Keep passing the ball. You're doing nothing with intent. Like nothing is done with intent. It's just slow passing. It's almost like you're trying to bait them into something. But teams have obviously wised up to that and said, we don't need to come near you. We don't need to do anything. Like you can keep passing it there. We can sit here for 90 minutes. It doesn't actually bother us. You're a big team. You're a good team. We don't need to do anything right now. We'll catch you when we catch you. But obviously, unfortunately for Liverpool, they're not in that kind of position where they can just wait around. They don't have the technical players like a Rodri, like a Bernardo Silva, within their team of Turkey. They ain't got them kind of players. Florian Wirtz, of course. Um, it's TK kinda, but it's like a bit. It's done a bit differently. But I'm gonna use like Curtis Jones, Florian Wirtz, like those type of technical kind of players, right? Obviously not to the level of Rodri and Bernardo Silva, but yeah, they've got them, but it's not to a high enough level. Clearly, because when you see Manchester City do it, which they've been doing for years and years and years, you can see what kind of level that it's being done at. And again, that's not even just for Liverpool, that's for the entire Premier League. There is really no one else on these two kind of level. If you're just talking about overall ability, yeah, I don't know anybody else who's better than these guys. And these are the kind of small things that can always help you later on in seasons. Of course, you're gonna need luck and all these kind of various different things. But for me, that kind of performance from Bernardo Silva, that clinic that he dropped at the Etihad yesterday, hey, all I'm saying is, if you're smart, you sign Bernardo Silva. That's all I'll say about Bernardo Silva. If you are smart, you will sign Bernardo Silva in the summer. I'm not saying you're signing him as a starter, as a key player, depending on, of course, who you are. If you're one of the top teams, really, it's only Arsenal, Liverpool. If I'm being totally honest with you, maybe Manchester United, but of course that he wouldn't go there. But if you're talking about, well, I say he wouldn't go there, but I don't feel he would go there. Let's just say any of Arsenal, City, Liverpool. If you're smart, you're signing him because he's easily better than majority of your midfielders. Easily, like it's not close. We're not comparing. Forget his age and stuff. Again, he doesn't have to start every week. Doesn't need to be your main guy. Of course, if he becomes that, then great. But to have that in your squad, let me know your thoughts, people. Let me know your thoughts. Did you guys see that clinic? Like, honestly, did you see the clinic? Like, or were you watching other players and maybe you saw other kind of thing? Let me know in the comment section. Then I'll really know who knows ball. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll really, really know, kind of thing. But yeah, big up to your damn selves, man. And make sure you guys obviously smash that like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Catch you guys soon. Peace.